Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's golfpartnerusa.com. Golf Partner. Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com.
Jennifer Harris has been missing for 2 days. The 28-year-old woman disappeared after leaving a friend's house on the evening of Mother's Day, 2002. When her abandoned Jeep is found locked and undisturbed on a county road behind Lake Bonham, authorities zero in on the theory that she left willingly.
The first appearance is that she met someone. She parked her car off the roadway, locked her vehicle, and took her intimate personal items with her. That would indicate to an investigator that she met someone that she knows.
In this special 2-part episode, we'll take you through the initial interviews with the 2 men closest to Jennifer at the time of her disappearance, her ex-boyfriend, James Hamilton, and her ex-husband, Rob Holman. According to witnesses, both men exhibited suspicious behavior in the days following Jennifer's disappearance. But could either one be involved? From Cold Case Productions, this is Final Days on Earth, Season 2, The Life and Death of Jennifer Harris, Episode 4, Persons of Interest, Part 1. I'm your host, Claire Sandoval. Thanks for listening. Before we get started, just a heads up that we've contacted both James Hamilton and Rob Holman to request interviews for this podcast. So far, James Hamilton has not responded. Rob Holman got in touch with me and declined to do an interview at this time. For now, we are relying on the recorded statements that James and Rob gave to police in this case. It's May 14th, 2002, and investigators from the Bonham Police Department and the Fannin County Sheriff's Department are in the early stages of the missing person investigation of Jennifer Harris. She's been gone for 48 hours, and authorities have returned to the scene of her disappearance, County Road 2610, behind Lake Bonham. As we covered in Episode 2, Missing, while officers are combing the area for signs of Jennifer, a curious thing happens. Jennifer's ex-boyfriend, James Hamilton, walks right into view.
He did come to Bonham, and he did want to search.
This is Jennifer's sister, Alyssa.
He didn't know his way around Lake Bonham. As far as I know, I mean, he might have been out there once or twice, I don't know, because of Jennifer, like, riding around. Maybe when he didn't get to Bonham much. It was only like when he came for Thanksgiving and maybe Easter.
Although she didn't think he was familiar with the area, Alyssa said she could understand why James would want to go to the last known place that Jennifer had been.
It wouldn't surprise me that he would want to go search for her.
But Alyssa doesn't remember exactly how James ended up on the scene at the same time as law enforcement.
There's just like one line in the report, but it says that James Hamilton was there whenever they were out at the scene, and that's how they made contact with him and then said, will you come down to the station and talk? And he did. But I was just curious if you knew anything about the timeline of, did he come to y'all's house first and then go out there?
I don't recall. He probably asked my dad or asked someone else, like, well, where is the Jeep? And, how can I help? And so it does make sense that he would show up there and just start trying to search or something. But I don't recall, like, him talking to me or saying, I'm going to go do this or anything like that.
Alyssa said she does remember one thing about James's visit to Bonham: how emotional he was.
I do remember he was crying, and I was consoling him. I hugged him. And I just remember he just sobbed. He just sobbed.
In James's interview with police, he kept his composure.
Am I considered a suspect at this point?
Detective Kelly Warren didn't mince words.
Well, we haven't eliminated anybody as a suspect.
Like the case, the audio is 20 years old. We pulled it from VHS tapes and did the best we could to enhance it and reduce the background noise. You're about to hear James say that he's willing to answer questions, but he can't remember every single detail. He also says he's worried he may say something that points a finger at him when he knows he's not guilty of anything.
If I want to sit here and answer your questions, I can't remember every single detail, and I don't want to say something that's, that may point a finger at me.
Well, let me tell you this. You won't be the only person we're going to be interviewing about this. And you won't be the only person I'll be reading their rights to. So, are you a suspect? I can't eliminate you from the suspect pool until we've talked. So you start out with a suspect pool, and so through the process of the investigation, we start eliminating people.
I'll be more than happy to try to answer any questions.
In his police interview, James waived his Miranda rights, but did not relinquish custody of his cell phone. Of course, he had a good reason. The Fannin County Offense Report states, James would not let loose of his mobile phone, hoping Jennifer might call. Detective Warren also went through James's personal history, including the fact that he had been in the Air Force and lived all over the world. After the military, James got his associate's degree in the medical field. He said his title was a cardiopulmonary technician, and that he worked as a medical assistant in hospitals and physicians' offices.
We're speaking today about Jennifer Harris Holman, and I understand that you had a romantic interest in her, or y'all had a relationship going at one point. Let's back up to who was your romantic interest before her?
James said his previous relationship was with a woman named Cindy Fields, who was now living in Montrose, Colorado. They had 2 kids together, a boy and a girl, but their relationship ended in the summer of 1999. Around the same time, James met Jennifer in massage therapy school. Jennifer and James didn't officially start dating until her divorce was finalized in October 2000, but according to Rob, Jennifer and James's relationship was the cause of their divorce. Rob said they'd had problems before, dating back to when Jennifer's mom died in 1997. But things got worse after Jennifer started massage therapy school and began hanging around a new classmate, James Hamilton.
Final straw was she had an affair, and that's when I left.
Rob's initial description of the end of their relationship left out some key details. From Jennifer's sister Alyssa, we've already learned that Rob punched a hole in the wall and broke items in the house upon discovering James at their residence.
I went to their home and I saw broken boards and things. And I was like, what is this? And Jennifer was like, oh, man, James was over here trying to help me sand these boards and paint them and stuff because he was just trying to help. And Rob just got so upset, he just broke them all and just sat there and just broke them. And then I went inside and there was a big hole in the wall. And that's where Rob punched the wall. And his hand went through the wall.
Investigators would also learn about more physical violence in Jennifer and Rob's past in statements from Rob himself.
She would have she's hot tempered when we're married.
Well, there comes a point where in a relationship, I know you gotta respond in some way. How do you respond to that?
Usually I just, tell her to stop and holler back. And it's,
Okay. And the other times that weren't usual, what happened?
that's what always happens. Sometimes I grab her, wrap her up, keep her from hitting and shit. Let's do that in.
Like any good investigator, Detective Warren kept pressing Rob for more details.
And did you ever once retaliate against her? Like when she slapped you, you'd slap her back?
I think I slapped her once.
Rob would go on to recount multiple occasions where he says he, quote, slapped Jennifer in the heat of an argument, including one time he was house-sitting for his uncle on a Sunday night.
McDonald's presents Burger Reviews by Hamburglar. Today's review, the hotter, juicier classic burgers. Mr. Hamburglar. Robble, robble. He said, of all the McDonald's burgers I've ever hamburgled, these are the hottest, juiciest, and tastiest. Brabble.
Hamburglary is on the rise. Get caught with a medium double cheeseburger meal for $6. Price and participation may vary. Promotion pricing may be lower than meal price. Comparison to prior classic burgers.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Claire Sandoval here, host of Final Days on Earth. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Bonafide. Bonafide provides natural solutions for perfectly natural symptoms. They create non-prescription solutions that treat women's health issues from PMS to menopause and everything in between. The ingredients in every Bonafide product are the result of thorough research, development, and clinical trials. Join over 330,000 women who have found relief naturally. Give Bonafide a try today. No hormones and no prescription required. Real relief without compromise. I'm going to give listeners today a special offer when you subscribe to any product by going to hellobonafide.com/FDOE and use promo code FDOE. That's hello, BONAFIDE.com/FDOE and code FDOE to claim your special offer. For the best prices and free shipping, go directly to the hellobonafide.com/FDOE website, so check it out. Hey, it's Claire Sandoval, host of Final Days on Earth. Have you ever signed up for something and then totally forgotten about it? I just learned that 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, I can see all my subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones I'm not using anymore. And now, I'm saving money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/finaldays today. That's rocketmoney.com/finaldays. rocketmoney.com/finaldays.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
Claire Sandoval here, host of Final Days on Earth. I thought I knew my dad better than anyone, but one day I heard a story I'd never heard before. That got me wondering, how many other stories don't I know? That's why I got my dad Storyworth. Storyworth is an online service that helps you and your dad or father figure connect through sharing stories. Every week, Storyworth emails your dad a thought-provoking question of your choice, like, tell me about the first date you ever went on, or have you ever feared for your life? I enjoy reading my dad's answers to those questions, discovering new memories, and learning more about stories I thought I really knew, like the time my dad took his pet rat LeBlanc to the movies. After 1 year, Storyworth compiles it all into a beautiful keepsake book, including photos, that the whole family can share for generations. I know my son is going to love reading all about his pawpaw. Give all the fathers in your life a meaningful gift you can both cherish for years to come. Storyworth. Right now, for a limited time, you can save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/finaldays. That's STORYWORTH.com/finaldays to save $10 on your first purchase. Storyworth.com/finaldays. According to Rob, Jennifer had called him and wanted to meet up. Just like on Mother's Day, Rob claimed he told Jennifer he wasn't going to see her.
She was coming from Louisville and called me on my cell phone.
Rob says Jennifer asked him to stop in the town of Melissa and talk for a little bit.
She said, for me to stop in Melissa, talk for a little bit. And I told her that I wasn't going to.
But for some reason, on that Sunday night, Rob says he did meet up with Jennifer. And it got violent.
We had a big argument then. I think I slapped her that night.
By the summer of 2000, Rob and Jennifer had officially separated, and Jennifer and James had moved in together. She introduced him to her family over the holidays, but according to James, they never really accepted him. A problem he attributed to Jennifer.
I think Jennifer's created an image with them that I'm trying to control her.
Jennifer's close friend Jill Wagner told police she felt James was controlling.
He just kind of maybe controlling, the kind of person who would, rule all that goes on. I also thought that he was probably the kind of person that thought a lot more highly of himself than other people probably thought of him.
But James's ego wasn't the only red flag in their relationship. James told investigators about multiple fights he had with Jennifer, including one around Christmas time that got particularly heated.
She came up to the apartment, and I had asked her to leave because we were fighting, and I didn't want to get into a fight. So I tried to lock her up with my arms and carry her out of the apartment and lock her out the door. She was fighting with me the whole way. She grabbed onto a rocking chair that was sitting there, which fell over her on the neck, left a red mark.
In case you didn't catch that, James said that as he was trying to get Jennifer out of the apartment, a rocking chair fell on her neck and left a red mark. Jennifer, meanwhile, would later tell her family that James had tried to choke her.
She stated to her dad that I tried to choke her, kill her, and she indicated like she really believed that I tried to kill her. I'd asked her to leave the apartment.
Former Fannin County Sheriff's investigator Daryl Parker says there are several things in James's background that are worth noting. He talked about them having physical altercations. He talked about Jennifer accusing him of trying to strangle her, of trying to actually kill her at one point, and calling her family and I believe calling the police and saying that, that she was afraid of him.
Yeah. So that's the other thing about this, about James Hamilton as a suspect, right? He had a history. There was domestic violence in his history. He was in the Army, so he had received training in hand-to-hand combat, that sort of thing. And he did have a history of getting handsy with, a partner. I think he was married previously. And I believe that some of that domestic violence was a complaint that was registered from his ex-wife as well. He was never charged with it. He was never arrested for it, but that was there. And that, of course, is a red flag.
In his interview with investigators, James shared his insecurity about his relationship with Jennifer.
There's a lot of uncertainty where the relationship is concerned because I I just don't feel like Jennifer was honest with me.
James's intuition about Jennifer being dishonest with him was actually right on point. In an ironic twist, James had broken up Rob and Jennifer's marriage, and now Rob was the other man in their relationship. This is Jennifer's cousin, Susan, talking to investigators in 2002.
She was still carrying on this thing with Rob behind James' back, which I knew, but I couldn't tell James.
Jennifer was seeing Rob again romantically, but it wasn't just a torrid affair. She wanted her now ex-husband back permanently.
She told me, she said, I'll point blank ask Rob to come back. And I said, if you love him and he loves you, and she said, Susan, he told me he can't live with me, but he would always love me.
Although Jennifer said she knew her efforts were in vain, her cousin Susan wasn't convinced that Jennifer had fully accepted that Rob wasn't coming back.
I would tell her, I would say, Jennifer, this isn't right what you're doing. I said, you've got to figure out what you want. And if Rob's happy, leave it alone. And she said, I know he still loves me. And I think really deep down it infuriated her because he wouldn't come back. And she did still love him, and she knew that he loved her. But it would never work. And that's what she said. She said, I know in my heart it would never work because he couldn't live with me. And I tried and I asked him to come back, but he wouldn't.
It seemed as though the more Jennifer vied for Rob's attention, the more she would challenge James.
She knew how to push James's buttons to be like things that would hurt him or make him jealous. And then she would laugh. She would always get little digs in on him. He would call me, Susan, why is she doing this?
Though he was distrustful at the end of their relationship, James still loved Jennifer, a feeling he was fully ready to admit. Here's Daryl Parker.
The decision for James and Jennifer to break up was not James' decision. That was Jennifer's decision. And so James was still smitten with her, and he was hoping that they would work things out and get back together. They started a business together. And so they were not only romantically involved, but they were also involved as business partners. And so he was certainly concerned. He certainly cared about her.
Considering the love triangle, investigators were very interested in what James Hamilton was up to on May 12, 2002. Just a heads up here that I'm trying to use as much original audio as I can, but the interview with James is especially poor quality, and this section is just too garbled. Using written reports and a transcript from the interview, this is what James told police. On Sunday, he was working on a roof all day with his friend David Chieb near Frisco. If you recall, Frisco is the suburb where Jennifer and James had their wellness center. It's about an hour south of Bonham. After a hard day of roofing, James said he and David went to McDonald's in nearby Plano for dinner around 7 p.m. David brought his kids as well, and James said he remembered it being exactly 8:10 p.m. when David said it was time to go put the kids to bed.
I was with him all the way up until 8:10 that evening, 8:10 p.m. that evening.
8:10? What happened at 8:10?
8:10 p.m. we left McDonald's. It was time for him to take the kids home and get them to bed.
Investigators quickly tracked down David Chieb to confirm James's story.
The main thing we want to do is go through a timeline with you. Just create a timeline and establish your whereabouts and others' whereabouts.
David recalled working with James on Sunday and going to McDonald's for dinner. And just like James, he said they left at exactly 8:10 p.m.
What time did y'all go to McDonald's?
6:45 till 8:10. I know exactly the time because I saw the watch and say, hey, I got to get my kids to bed.
David also remembered another key detail, that it started raining just as James took off.
And it started raining. That's when Jay took off.
Remember, 8 p.m. is the same time that Jennifer reportedly exclaimed, "I've got to go," to her friend Christy Farr in Bonham. But given that James was more than an hour away in the Dallas suburbs, coupled with where Jennifer's Jeep was found, it seems more likely that she was going to meet her ex-husband Rob, if she was meeting either of them at all. There are no records of calls between Jennifer and James on Sunday, and James says the last time they spoke was Thursday, when Jennifer was getting ready to leave for Austin to chaperone the Bonham High School girls' track meet. Rob, meanwhile, did speak to Jennifer on Sunday. He told investigators he declined her invitation to see each other for Mother's Day and instead spent the holiday with his girlfriend. He said the same thing to Alyssa, Jennifer's sister, when he showed up unexpectedly to her grandmother's house the day after Jennifer's missing persons report was filed.
Rob continued to say, well, he just felt horrible because she wanted to talk to him. She'd been trying to call him that day. He would answer and he would say, no, I'm not going to meet with you. I'm not going to talk to you. And I guess she was persistent. And so he kept saying no. And then he continued to tell me that he felt bad because, it was Mother's Day and he knew she probably wanted to talk to him since our mom had passed. And it was Mother's Day. And he refused. He said he didn't want to risk Sarah Beth finding out because she found out once before and it caused a huge fight.
According to his own statement to police, Rob left his girlfriend's house after The Sopranos ended at 8 p.m. Daryl Parker believes there was more to that last phone call between Jennifer and Rob on Sunday than Rob wants to admit.
I believe she wanted to spend some time with him because she thought she was pregnant with his child. And it was Mother's Day. Made perfect sense. Now, according to Rob, he refused to meet with her.
In the Fannin County Offense Report about Jennifer's case, a neighbor reported seeing Jennifer on the phone crying sometime in the afternoon on Sunday.
He says that the last time he talked to her was that morning in the telephone call. He also happens to be the last person on earth who admits seeing her alive. Rob Holman himself said that he met her at the intersection of Highway 78 and this crossroad. It was the old airport road. And he sees Jennifer approach the intersection in her green Jeep.
While Rob claims they stayed in their vehicles and went their separate ways on this occasion, he admits they'd met up on back roads in Bonham in the past. As we covered in our first episode, driving around Bonham and finding places to park and hang out in the country was a common pastime for locals, and Jennifer and Rob specifically had a history of this kind of behavior. In his interview with investigators, Rob described meeting Jennifer on the side of the road to talk just a few weeks before she disappeared.
It was past the drive-in movie theater down the dirt road.
And when you met her, was she on her sheet?
Yeah, we sat on the side of the road to talk.
Even Jennifer's cousin Susan knew about these late-night rendezvous between Jen and Rob.
I would ask her periodically, are you still seeing Rob? She did tell me that one night when she left her grandmother, and she said that she had to get gas and that she met him at Quick Check. And it was sad because her grandmother was just like sitting there pacing. You could tell she was worried about her because it was like over an hour that she was gone to get gas.
Rob Holman's girlfriend, Sarah Beth, confirmed for investigators that Rob often went on long drives in the country, where he told her he listened to music and stopped to get beer. But as far as she knew, he was alone during these drives.
The whole time I've ever, or that I've known him since we've dated, it's just been like a common occurrence. It's a weekly, not always weekly, but sometimes. Just ride around and listen to music.
I mean, that's on the average week would he go out riding? Since y'all been together.
On average?
Yeah, just an average.
Once a week? Once every 2 weeks?
Once a week.
Once a week?
And how long would he be going? On average.
2 to 5 hours.
And on this night, Rob was at it again, He told Sarah Beth and investigators that he had been out driving, all alone, for 5 hours.
You're real worried and scared because I know that I don't have anybody to say where I was at that night. That's what I've been scared of the whole time.
What?
Sunday.
I'd rather for us to go check out these scenes before I finish up with all my questions.
On the next episode of Final Days on Earth, the life and death of Jennifer Harris. Investigators ask Rob to drive around with them on the back roads of Bonham.
If that's okay.
I've got my 8mm in the car, so as we ride along, we can document what we're doing.
That way it's our gas, and all you got to do is sit back and enjoy the ride.
They kept a camera rolling the whole time.
Today is May the 15th, 2002, and it's 10:48 a.m. Would you give your name?
Rob Holman.
And this is just a continuation. We were talking inside the building. We've come outside now and gotten in the car.
Investigators are on a drive down memory lane, with Rob Holman leading the way.
And this is where she told you that she was pregnant and it was your baby.
Right.
Okay. Was there any physical confrontation here?
The more time investigators spend with Rob, the more questions they have.
They were trying to get from him, so where all did you drive that night? And they talked for several hours during this drive.
Final Days on Earth is recorded in Dallas, Texas for Cold Case Productions in partnership with Podcast One. This episode was written and reported by me, Claire Sanema, and Hillary Wadsworth. Audio production by Matthew Mallinger of Podcast One. Original theme music composed and performed by Riley Simmons. Associate producer is April Scales. Editorial consultant is Lucy Scott of LucyMedia.com. Executive producers are Sharon Richards and me, Claire Sanema. Special thanks to Alyssa Harris-Warnick and Daryl Parker for talking to me for this episode. If you have any information about the unsolved murder of Jennifer Harris, contact the Fannin County Sheriff's Department at 903-583-2143.